Hello friends, your old pal Nick here to talk about Porsches. In particular, Porsche have just released the 2023 model year updates to the configurator and details out to the dealers as to what's different. And it's a giant yawn fest. There really isn't that much changing. And this has confused a lot of people. Nick, what happened in the 992.2? Well, as I've said before, it was never due this year. Its details of that model are due at the end of this year for next year, the 2024 year model. So you're waiting another year before that appears on the configurator. Yes, this is the last year of the 992.1 if we're talking about 911s. And the last year has always been historically a disappointment and a problem child. Yeah, you don't want to buy the last year of any 911 because of this. But because people have been having to wait so long and supply issues, a lot of people will be forced into buying the last year of the 992.1. So basically, all that's changed is some colors have changed and the prices have gone up. Inflation in most countries has gone up, so you can expect Porsche to put their prices up. They're not here to save anyone money. If they've got an opportunity to up the prices, they will. There's been some other little changes as well. If you look carefully at the terms and conditions, you'll see some changing in the wording there as well. They're now reserving the right to remove a feature off your car and not tell you, which is awesome. Yeah, that's been happening a lot lately because they're just having a lot of trouble getting parts, and so if they can get away with a feature just being removed or maybe put on later or just disappearing totally, they will. Be very vigilant on this. If you order a car, make sure you're getting all the parts you ordered, and if it's missing a part or a feature, be compensated for it. They will compensate you for it. So anyway, let's have a look. Let's have a look at the 2023 year model, which is the last model of the 992.1. Yes. For those of you still confused about this, Porsche run a consistent 7-year cycle on all models. And with the 911, it is always the same. So the start of the 992 was 2020 model year. Even though they were produced in 2019, it was a 2020 model year. At the 4-year mark, that is when they bring out the .2 for the next 3 years. So this is the 2023 model year. We have another year to go before the .2 model. Hope that clears that up. It seems to confuse a lot of people. So yeah, let's look at the configurator. Let's first of all look at the models where there's much changed here. So we'll pick 911 and I'll give you a little brief on each model. The Carrera, the base Carrera at 106,000 has popped up price a few thousand. I still love the base Carrera. It's almost people need. I still don't ever recommend the base Carrera, however, and for a couple of reasons. And none of it's got to do with the engine. I actually love the engine. I love the fact that you have to push this car a little bit more. It still oodles of power. The base Carrera is a lovely, lovely car. Where it falls down is Porsche deliberately hobble this car and make it so no one wants it on the second-hand market. And they do that by removing the PTV, the Porsche Torque Vectoring, which is the limited slip diff on the back. So this car has trouble getting its power to the wheels, being a rear-wheel drive car, and it really shows. You know, you often see the traction control coming on in the base Carrera, which you don't see in any other model because they have the electronic diff on the back. So that really hobbles it. Also, you can't get it in a manual transmission. And as I alluded to before, they sell for a lot less on the used market. They don't retain their value as well as all the other models. So it's just unfortunately worth paying the extra 17 grand or whatever it is to get the S model. You get that money back when you go to sell the car, and the car's a lot safer, faster, better, has more options. Get the S if you can afford it, but there's nothing wrong with the Carrera. Cabriolet, you know, as I've said before, it's just a personal choice. You're a Cabriolet person or not. Some people don't like the hump on the back, but yeah, it continues to be a great model. Yeah, they really do a great job of making the Cabriolet as tight as the coupe models. The Carrera 4. I think this is the slowest selling model aside from the 4 Targa, which is the lowest volume model, because it's a sort of odd model. It does fix the traction control problem. They do include PTV Plus, not that it matters because it's a 4-wheel drive model anyway, and it has the cool engine in it. It's just no one No one ever buys this car. People tend to go for an S or a 4S, but it's out there. And then we'll jump to the Carrera S, which is my favorite model still in the range. If I had unlimited money, I'd still probably buy a Carrera S. The other model within the range that I really love, of course, is the GT3 Touring, which is all the joy of having a GT3, that engine, everything about the GT3, without the ridiculous looks. But of course, they're unicorns. There's never any allocation for them. No one can ever get one. So because you can't get one, get the Carrera S. It is the most configurable. It's the most value for money, holds its value the best. It's just everything about the S sounds the best. It's, yeah, outside of the GT3 models, I think the S is still the best model in the range, no question. Next, we got to the 4S. I owned a 4S. I won't do it again. It's a great car, but unless you're driving in, I don't know, 4 feet of snow, there's no need to have the 4. It sort of sucks the fun out of owning, a little bit of the fun out of owning the car. The 4-wheel drive system is great, but rear-wheel drive on a sports car is a lot more fun. It's just the way it is. Yeah, get the S. It's a better model than the 4S, but a lot of people get the 4S. I don't know why. GTS, fine. I drove the GTS at last. I drove the GTS. And here's what I have to say about the GTS. I will do a review on the GTS. I still can't find anyone that's willing to give me their GTS to do a review on, because I need to review the GTS beside an S. But I did get to drive one the other day, and it was exactly as I expected. It is a magnificent car. The GTS is a magnificent car because it's an S. It's basically just an S with a bunch of options on it. Yeah, you do feel just a little blip in power, that extra 30 horsepower, but people lose their mind over the GTS being so much better than the S. Wake up, people. It's 30 horsepower more on a 450 horsepower car, and that is exactly how it feels. It's just a little tiny bump of power at the top. It doesn't make this a driving experience any different than the S. And they say the suspension's tuned a little differently, all this other horseshit. Basically, it's just Porsche talk forcing people to buy a GTS because they think it's going to be a better model. But yeah, it is a great model. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, Nick, there's 450,000 reviews online and on YouTube, on everywhere, that rave about the GTS. And they're right. It is an absolutely magnificent model. What they never ask, though, is it any better than an S? And the answer is simply, no, not really. Yeah, 30 horsepower more doesn't make any, does that make any difference to the driving enjoyment of this car? Of course not. Where it matters is that the GTS forces you to buy and take a bunch of options that you may or may not want. And I know people argue with me and say, well, I'm definitely going to take those options, so I'll get the GTS. If that's the case, great, get the GTS. But, you know, there's a lot of stupid options on the GTS that I would never want, including the silly center lock wheels. What is the point of these center lock wheels? Apart from, if you like the look of them, maybe, but they're just a nuisance. They're just a nuisance. They really make owning the car more difficult. No, anyway, that's enough of me ranting about the GTS. It is a great car. It is a great car. Is it better than the S? I don't think so. Anyway, so the GTS models are out. Very popular. I'd happily own one as well, but yeah, you know, I'm not going to go out of the way to get one. And then as we drop down here, we get this new model, the 911 edition 50-year Porsche design, 186,000 for a car that forces you to take black everything. For those of you that have taken too much acid, this is the model for you. I don't know, whatever. It's a Targa model. I don't know, maybe it's limited edition. I don't know. It's a black everything. I don't know what the point of that car is. On to the turbo models. So, as we know, from down at the bottom here, the Sport Classic, we are all hoping that Porsche for the 992.2 next year might finally have a manual transmission again for the turbo models. How friggin' awesome would that be? I know. We can only hope. Anyway, turbo models. So the turbo models have always been to me a bit of a mixed bag. I think they look so cool. They look so cool. I really love the active wing on the front and the back, and the little holes and gaps, and just the styling of the turbos is so cool. But then everything else kind of lets it down. Everyone focuses on the power, but the power is irrelevant, really. You know, once you're getting over 400 horsepower, these 500 or 600 horsepower cars, it's a thrill. And everyone that reviews one says it's a thrill, it's so fast, blah, blah, blah. But that thrill is, A, wears off fairly quickly, and B, if you're looking for incredible acceleration, go and buy a Tesla. It does it better. It does it better than a Porsche 911, that's for sure. You are launched, you know, the linear power of the Tesla is incredible. Whereas, yeah, if you drive a Tesla Plaid next to a Turbo S, the Tesla Plaid is the more shocking experience, I think, in my experience. And that shows on the numbers as well. And to me, all of this power actually detracts from the experience of owning a sports car. And certainly, I know people that have gone from sort of muscle cars and brought a Turbo S and live a world of regret, because, you know, when you drive a muscle car, an 800 horsepower muscle car, it's an adventure, all that noise, all the effort it takes to keep the damn thing on the road. It's just a lot of fun, you know, like it's like driving like one of those Dodge Red Eye Hellcats. Those are so much fun to drive because, you know, it's a challenge to keep them on the road, and they're just crazy. Whereas if you put your foot down in a Turbo S, any 8-year-old can do it. It's so easy to drive. You're just light fitting it all the time. The Turbo S really does suck a lot of the fun out of owning a sports car. And not just because it's so powerful, because it's so easy to drive fast. It's 4-wheel drive. It's automatic. It's just point and shoot. Yeah, not a fan. And of course the 3.8 litre engine, powerful, but has never sounded as good. Doesn't sound as good as the 3 litre engine, not by miles. Anyway, enough of saying bad things about the turbo. The actual turbo model I really like, as I said, because of the styling. It is nice and powerful, and if it gets a manual transmission, I'd actually be tempted to get one. I think the turbo is the best model within the turbo range. The Turbo S forces you to get things like Porsche dynamic chassis control, which really sucks the fun out of the car, and carbon ceramic brakes, which are a bit of hit and miss, I think. Yeah, get the turbo. It's really a cool model. Hopefully we'll see the manual transmission in it next year. Fingers crossed. GT3 models, what can you say? Everyone loves the GT3 models, and they are mind-blowing to drive. They just do everything so well. I don't know that I would daily drive a GT3. Maybe the Touring, some people do. Yeah, if the Touring was more available, that would certainly be a very tempting car, just because of that magnificent engine. It's just so consuming when you drive a GT3. The sound of the engine, the way it delivers power, the way you have to push the car. You know, it's the opposite of, you know, the Turbo S in a way, in that you have to have a little bit of your wits about you when you're driving them, and they're a lot more engaging. Yeah, the GT3 models. Personally, I think the standard GT3 is still an ugly goddamn thing with the spoiler and so forth, but the Touring, so much love. So yeah, either a Carrera S or a Touring, those are my favorites within the range. So nice. And then finally, the Sport Classic. People lost their shit a few weeks back when this got announced. And it's because everybody freaks out about horsepower. And horsepower is really not the thing anymore, you know. If you want horsepower, as I said, go and buy an electric car. Yeah. What's cool about the Sports Classic, yes, you can get the manual transmission with the 3.8 litre engine. That's very cool. The other cool thing about the Sports Classic is the interior is so beautiful. It is so beautiful, don't you agree? What's not so cool about the Sport Classic is it's an ugly duckling on the outside. There, I said it. No one else agrees with me, but it is. It's ugly. Oh, man. Give me a break. Ducktail, silly number on the side. Just slow your roll. What an ugly, ugly car this is. And what's really ugly is that it's priced at $272,000 and you can't buy them anyway. I mean, if someone offered me one, I would definitely buy it because it's a limited edition model, and I hate Porsche for doing these things. But of course, it'll be you could resell it for $1 million next year, no trouble at all. It'd be a great investment. But otherwise, the best thing about the Sport Classic is it gives us hope that a manual transmission is coming back to the turbo models. Fingers crossed, everyone. Anyway, so that's the models. quick brief run through of those guys. Let's have a quick configuration of my favorite, the Carrera S, and have a look what's changed. Not a lot. One thing that's changed on the configurator is that Porsche now has this suggested options feature for trying to lure you into options that you wouldn't have otherwise got. And as always, I am entertained by how little user testing Porsche does on their website. For example, if you get the manual transmission on the Carrera S, it automatically gives you the Sport Chrono package. Yet, the tips and recommendations feature still tells you, you should get the Sport Chrono package. I already have it, idiot machine. It comes free with my manual transmission. Yeah, how they get it so wrong, I don't know. Anyway, on to the colors. What can I say about the colors? That's about all I want to say about the colors. Yes, the colors, just a world of disappointment, really. Yeah, they've dropped this. The standard water-based standard colors are all there. I'm even a fan these days of racing yellow. Yeah, I know. I used to hate it, but now that everyone buys grey, silver, black colors, I'm down with yellow. You know, anything to get us away from the grey mediocrity, I'm down with. The metallic colors, yeah, we're down to, what is it? 6 colors. 6 colors. 2 of them are pretty nice. I really like GT and blue. It really suits this car. And I'm always a big fan of the Aventurine green. Looks a little grey in some lights, but yeah, at least it's something different. I am not a fan of white or black, and agate grey has resurrected. Like the floating turd in the toilet, somehow has come back to haunt me. I had celebrated the demise of this colour way too early, it would seem. It's back. History's most boring Porsche colour has returned. I'm sure you'll all buy it. It's just so popular. GT Silver's still there. They've dropped the other silver colour, but they added another 2 silvers to the special colours, increasing the number of greys and silvers. Tell me, people, if you look at GT Silver Metallic and then you look at Ice Grey Metallic, can anyone tell the difference? I don't think so. My God. Oh, all they're doing here is they're forcing us, yes, why do they even bother offering colors anymore? Just make everybody go paint to sample. That's what's going on here. Before we go to paint to sample, special colors still got 3 decent colors though. They've got Carmine Red, which has always been a nice color. Shark Blue, which is a little bit flat, but still a nice color. And Python Green, also a bit flat. I'd be tempted to see what would Python Green or Shark Blue look like with a stealth wrap on it. That would be cool, I think. But yeah, none of these colors excite me, and certainly Arctic Grey, Chalk, and boring old grey, Ice Grey Metallic. Please. So yeah, what we're forced down is now, if we want to get a decent color in our 911, we have to go paint to sample, $11,000. I think it's just the way it is. We're just going to all have to do paint to sample. And the good news here is that finally, the Porsche website shows you what those colors look like. Hallelujah, and lists them. It used to be a big guessing game and a real hoops to jump through. Now you can actually see it. Metallic, non-metallic. Well, let's pick metallic. The sad thing here is that Mamba Green, my favorite, Mamba Green, not an option. They just have shut me down on that color, haven't they? I'm never getting that color again, sadly. But yeah, I do love a bunch of greens. I do like, there's a lot of colors, a lot of great colors in the paint to sample. If it was my car, I would be going with Forest Green Metallic or Oak Green Metallic. Let's have a look at that. Let's do that. Forest Green Metallic is such a beautiful color. I just saw someone configuring one, going through the paint work at the Porsche factory in this color. So lovely. Yep. Have to pay $11,000, but you're paying a lot of money for these stupid cars anyway. Porsche just here to gouge us, price gouge us. So yeah, I'd buy that. I won't go through the whole configurator. Needless to say, you will notice bits and pieces dropping off this configurator over the next 12 months as they run out of decent stock on the options, and as I said before, they just lose interest in the final model year. Don't buy the final model year. But yeah, there's just things missing here, as I said, like the power steering rack is no longer part of the 14 and 18-way seats, and other little things throughout that are just starting to disappear. One thing that has appeared though, that I say yippee, is finally, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I don't know, somewhere in here. Comfort and assistance systems maybe. Come on. Preparation for Porsche dash cam. I think it says you've got to buy the dash cam separately, and then they don't list the dash cam separately. But finally, Porsche are allowing you, so you don't have to install it and all that garbage. Put a dash cam in your car. Only $130 for the prep. I don't know how much the dash cam is because it's not actually in the techno equipment on the configurator at the moment, despite what they say. But whatever it is, probably $400 or $500. It's worth it. Get a dash cam. Oh my God, it saves me so often. Yeah, so yeah, that's it really. Good news, bad news. Good news, paint the samples finally. You can see what it looks like on the configurator at long last. Bad news, price has gone up. Standard colors are all boring. And there's going to be missing features in your 911. And speaking of the missing features in the 911, yeah, so the supply chain issues continue to bug Porsche. And what's interesting is that Porsche finally admitted that they are not selling as many cars. And there's a sort of a developing story about last year's sales figures. You know, like they claimed that they sold more cars last year than they had in any previous year. And we all kind of knew that was a lie at the time, and now they're kind of backing out of that, I think. It's going to be interesting if that story develops. But anyway, at least this year they're going, yeah, we're definitely not selling as many cars, supply chain issues, and no one, you're waiting 6 months to a year to get any model, except base Macan, Macan S, base Cayenne, and the Cayenne Black models. Those all have good stock and good allocation, factory allocation. So do not be paying over recommended retail for any of those 4 models. In fact, you could get a discount still, I think, on a base and a Macan S if you push really hard, because there's really great allocation on those. They are missing a few parts sometimes, but there's great allocation. So yeah, hopefully we'll see great allocations return for the rest of the model line in the next year. This is really annoying. Yeah, I'd like to be able to help people more, get discounts on cars, but it's just not happening at the moment. So yeah, that's what's happening with the Porsche. Yeah, if you want a 911, I just wait another year. Wait another year, hold out. Don't get the last year of the 992.1. Well, we're all a little nervous about what the 992.2 is going to be. Is it going to be a hybrid, whatever? They're always better. They always have more options, better styling, better engines. And they fix all the problems with the PCM, because have no doubt there's problems with the PCM still. And of course, hopefully it's going to have the new Apple CarPlay features, and they're going to fix the some of the features which they've never fixed on the current one, like the lane hold and so forth. Yeah, just wait for the 2024 model. It's going to be a cooler model. But yeah, and then get it and paint a sample. Anyway, that's all the news from the Porsche 2023 update. I hope it's been useful for you guys. If you've got any questions, put them below or email me. Always try and help wherever I can, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye then.